the fan, we're overrun. Sending boys in the trucks with the 50 cals. Tell every swinging neck, bring extra rounds. Hang in now, boys, we're on our way. Don't send them on to heaven before we get a taste. Whoa, cry havoc, let's slip the doors away. What you gonna do?
And welcome, folks, to Sunday night, the first ever edition of the Double S Podcast. Folks, joining us out there in Heroes Media Group land and the True Patriot Outfitter land, the Romans Warrior Foundation land. Thank you so very much for tuning in to the show. Hope you like that little intro there we fired up. Got our brother, Mr. Sal Gonzalez, providing the music there, Shadow of Death. Go check him out, Sal G Music. Our brother's going to be playing at the Grand Ole Opry, I think, again as well. So, yeah, this is pretty awesome times for Mr. Sal there. He was gracious enough to let us use that for the intro. Welcome to the shit show, y'all. This is the new project that we have been working on, putting together, and my esteemed colleague and definitely, I believe, long-lost relative of some kind, brother from another mother, Mr. Brian Romans, and I have been working behind the scenes to put this all together, along with the Heroes Media Group and Mr. Adam Bird putting this together and bringing this out. We are going to go ahead and get Commander Romans in here right now. Boom. There you are, buddy. Connection looking a lot better.
That's a good deal. Yeah, I had to kick the crumb snatchers off the net and relocate. So,
hell yeah.
Terms of endearment, everybody. I promise.
Right. So basically, folks, what we wanted to do is kind of introduce you to the new show, introduce you really what the concept is. We've texted out, we've typed it out, we've listed it out there. The bottom line is this is going to be a podcast that we're going to go all over the place when it comes to topics. Will we be talking about some fishing in there? You know we will. That's for sure. But we're also going to be talking about a whole lot other stuff, things that actually matter in the big scheme of things. And one of the biggest pieces that you are going to find with this show here is that this will be raw. There will be no filters. Language will be here. Topics are going to be here. Probably not a great thing for the kids. Or if you have sensitive ears, this is not going to be the show for you. Just because we want to keep this as real as possible. Saying maybe the quiet things out loud. And getting into the meat of some of these topics, because quite frankly, there's too much going on in the other sector out there for us just to rinse and repeat another one. And I'll be honest with you, when you have binders put on you, such as sponsorships or things of that nature, it restricts your opinion a ton if you're being a good steward. And this one, our sponsors are very simple. You're looking at the main one sitting right there on the side of your screen, Mr. Brian Romans, and the Heroes Media Group, man. That's it. That's who covers this show. This is going to be a podcast for the warfighting communities. We're talking active, veteran, Gold Star families, first responders, former first responders. We're going to get into any topics that matter to you. That's what we want to fire up. And we've got opinions to this stuff. Brian, tell the beautiful people at home and our two listeners, tell them a little bit about you, man. Introduce yourself.
Well, I'm just an asshole, man. Just trying to make it out here in the world. I'm trying to figure out what my purpose is after 15 years in the Marine Corps. I'm still trying to figure that out. Ran into you in Colorado, and next thing you know, here we are doing a podcast a couple years later. So look, Gene hit it, and he hit it right on the head, right? So we are raw, we are unfiltered, and if we happen to hurt your feelings, drop an email in the chat, and I'll make sure to email you that hurt feelings report, because quite honestly, we care, but we really don't care. We have the freedom of speech. We fought for it, and we're going to use it, and we want you to use it back with us. There's nothing that you're going to say that's really going to get us twisted. I promise you. We may laugh at your comments. We may make a joke about your comments publicly while on air, but that's the beauty about it being media. That's what we do.
100%, man. And that's, you know what, I can tell you, you know, where there was a liberation point for me that took place when it came to worldview, national view, just maybe age has kicked in. And that is, I stopped getting emotionally vested in shit that I have no control over, like political candidates or political parties or a sport that I love maybe, but quite frankly, my love or distrust for matters. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, man. And when you're okay with being wrong about something, dude, that liberates you so far, because it's like, I might be wrong, but here's what I feel right now based on these facts. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I'm with you. You know, I'm at the age where I might be disagreeing with you, and I might be stirring the pot because I've already lost the argument. I just want to see how far you're willing to take it. And now it's humorous to me. So, I mean,
dick move.
That's kind of where I'm at in life. You know, look, like it or not, I've got more people that hate me than like me, and I'm fine with that. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. And I know you're the same way. Yeah. So, I mean, bottom line is there's a lot of craziness going on in the country right now, and you have to be funny about it. You have to laugh about it. You have to enjoy it, because if not, you're going to be just as bad as the people that are trying to stir the pot. You know, let's make it humorous. Let's have fun with it. You know, is it serious? Absolutely. Some of it is absolutely serious.
Yep.
But damn, at the end of the day, we're all human, man. We're all adults. Let's act like it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to say this, that this is something that sometimes gets a little controversial with some people, but I really don't care. That's the point of this podcast. And that is this. When it comes to public policy or anything dealing with our nation, when it comes down to the end of the day, in my opinion, a veteran's voice should ring louder in your ears. Flat out. I believe that now, and I'm not saying every veteran is correct, and I'm not saying there aren't asshole veterans running around. I've met a few of them myself out there, but you know what? They're still veterans, and they have done something that the rest of us out here, I'm from the first responder side of things, not a veteran myself, but they have done something that the rest of us either wanted to, didn't do, but sit back and applaud and are very thankful for, or there's a group of people out there that just quite frankly take it for granted. But the fact of the matter is, they took an oath. You went, you know, the ultimate of sacrifices between friends, yourself, you know, every veteran serves with their life. Some just pay it all up front. And that's so right. At the end of the day, man, your opinions, your voices should and will be heard. That's just where I stand on this when it comes to, I may not agree, but at the very least, you should have a bigger stake of that, you know, in that discussion, I think, than the blue hair sitting on Berkeley campus. I'm afraid.
Well, that's why we're doing this, right? I mean,
right.
You're giving what you're doing, and what Adam has done is given us the platform and the opportunity to be able to have that discussion, have that open air commentary with anyone and everyone. And trust me, I don't, and I'm going to use, like he said in the intro, we're going to use language that may, you know, get people stirred up or whatever. But if a libtard wants to jump on here and have a conversation, I'm going to have a conversation with the libtard just like I would any other person in the world, because I want to respect your opinion. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to realize that we don't have to agree to be able to get along and have a nice conversation.
Right. You know, I mean, and I think that's part of it, is that we've lost that ability all of a sudden to be able to chat or to have a heated discussion. You know, and you see it running around out there. I'll tell you, I have no problem kind of going, first and foremost, Justin Brickland tuning in, listening to us here.
That's right. What's up, man?
Thank you, Brick. Appreciate you tuning in. We're hoping they're going to get him on the show a couple times. We'll have him come in and host with us as well, and chop it up here, talk and throw his 2 cents in there. But one of the pieces that you see running around out there, when I was a kid growing up, dude, I was raised by a single mom, okay? Just me, my brother, and my mom. Through the 1980s. I'll tell you right now, trickle-down economics, it didn't work. Because all we got were the scraps, dog. But I will say this, and I'm not saying this with malice, but it's the facts. My mother never graduated high school, got married young, started having kids young. So she never really had, a whole lot of training or job skills and such. So she worked her tail off, retail, sometimes 2 jobs at a time to make sure that we had food and clothing, through as we were kids growing up. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't as if she had, we didn't have a lot of money, dude, at all. We were every essence of the word, trailer trash. That's what any house that I remember as a kid growing up was a trailer. And it was something if we lived in a park, it's like, wow, we're moving on up now, man. I got neighbors, school. And so we grew up during that era through the 70s and 80s there. We were Democratic the whole way, right? Because back then the Democrats were for the working folks, the little guy. That's what their platform was. Through the 90s, as I became a young man, got into business, entrepreneurship, doing things like this, started seeing the world a little different. Of course, Storm, Shield, all those things start taking in effect, start watching that on what's taking place out there. Started to kind of shift from the left over to the right side. As time went on, I found myself rolling a little bit more in the middle, right down the middle of the road. Just because there were things about the left I enjoyed, things about the right I enjoyed. But I'll flat out tell you, and I have no problem saying this anymore, there's almost nothing on the left anymore that I can sit there and say that I'm proud of, or that I share a view of. Because right now, the only fact that they have is this very hardcore left extreme. I can tell you, I've seen it firsthand from family member who is involved deep inside the Democratic Working Party in the state of Minnesota. Watch that if you had a moderate opinion, well, they put a witch hunt out on you. They basically tried to remove this person from her position, which was president of the college Dems. I'm talking about my daughter. They tried to remove her from this position because she was too moderate. She wasn't extreme enough, to one side. I mean, when I started seeing that kind of stuff take place over and over and over again, it started raising those bells and whistles, right? And I was like, okay, hang on. Hold the phone here a little bit. What exactly is taking place with these guys? And and as of late here, again, you got to be able to laugh at yourself, right? And right now I see one side that used to preach tolerance and inclusiveness, and they are anything but that right now. I'm watching that go down the other side, quite frankly, all they got to do is just not say a damn word. It seems like all they got to do is just sit back and let these clowns go off and babble. It's at least what it feels like where I'm seeing. I feel like, I guess my point to this whole thing is I feel like we've watched a role kind of change out there. All of a sudden now it's coming back around to where the roots originally started, which is the Republicans seem to be more for the working blue collar folk out there. They seem to give a shit, about people that are working 9 to 5s, keeping our cities alive, keeping electricity in the house so we can do a podcast.
Well, I mean, when you're attacking federal agents and you're calling for more violence in the streets because, oh my God, whatever happened to sticks and stones? I mean, let's get back to the basics. Sticks and stones may break my bones. Your words will never. I mean, give me a break. Why are we acting like we're kids? I mean, I got a 6-year-old that's got more respect for himself and people around him than these people on the left do. And you want to come to my streets and rain violence? I'm telling you, Antifa is experiencing it in cities across the country because the veterans are tired of it. We're tired of the crap that we're having to deal with. So we're starting to stand up and do something about it. It's just it blows my mind, and I agree with you. Growing up, I really didn't get into politics all that much. I really, truly, and honestly, I didn't care. I was too busy about eating mud and playing with Hot Wheels and running around on the bikes and terrorizing the neighborhood. Even in the Marine Corps, it was do what you're told, don't question. Roger.
I was going to
Easy
say,
day.
You don't get a political opinion in the service.
Hell no, I didn't get that until what?
They don't issue you that.
No, So we didn't have the right. Hey, Commander in Chief is saying, go take out that building. Roger that. Let's go take out that building. Right, wrong, disagree with it, agree with it, whatever. That was your job. Now the transition that I'm seeing and I began to be fearful of my children's future. 8 years ago. Where are we going? 12 years ago, where are we going with all this? And it was a setup to where we are now. And you got the biggest thing that opened my eyes to everything, Gene, was when you have, like right now in the current administration, how many of those key leaders are not taking a paycheck to be able to help fix America?
Yeah.
Elon Musk is not taking a paycheck. Trump did for 4 years. He didn't take a paycheck. He actually donated his paycheck out to different organizations, nonprofits across the country. Dan, I'm going to chop his name, Dan Bongino. He gave up a lucrative podcast, a media business that was making a hell of a lot more than he's making now to be able to be the deputy director of the FBI to help fix the problems.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody on the left saying, "Hey, take my paycheck."
No.
It drives me absolutely damn crazy with it.
And that's kind of what we're talking about. Why we wanted to do this show, man, was because if you do go down these rabbit holes, it can be something that actually puts you in a position where you're like, is now, I don't want to say hopeless, but you just get this feeling like, are we on the brink of the next civil war? Is that's what's coming? Is it going to have to be that in order for us to, get our, and if you go too far down that rabbit hole, which is social media, yeah, you'll walk away thinking that it is. I have a different view. I think, quite frankly, and this is, I don't know if somebody else has coined this, but I'm going to coin it here. And that is, there was this big push for this woke culture, right? The woke culture was supposed to be, the intention is that you were, aware of many and all people around. That's what being woke was supposed to be. You're supposed to be inclusive for everything and paying attention to how your words matter and all this kind of stuff. Quite frankly, I think people aren't woke out there. The majority of the people are now becoming awake. Mm-hmm. Because not only is the term being used improperly for its word, which they seem to want to fucking do that around every corner. It used to be geek speak was kind of funny, right? But now it's like, no, this becomes verbiage that they want to use, improper damn English. But people are becoming awake now. You look at the ratings of the crap that's going on out there. The major big players are diving right now, and I stay 100%. It's because of more and more podcasts that are willing to talk real, expose things for what they are, saying, how many times can you turn your head and say conspiracy theory before you realize that everything you're seeing is pointing at something, and the only thing that's not pointing at it is your mind going, no, it couldn't be. It's like
you've been taught in school. You've been what's the technical word for it? I'm a redneck, so I'm having a trouble.
Indoctrinated.
Thank you. Yeah, indoctrinated from the time that you were in first grade. It started, and we didn't realize it because we were just, hey, I'm going to go to school and lick windows kind of thing. And then you turn around and boom, you're a 46, 47, 48-year-old adult, and you're like, what the hell's going on in the world? The coolest thing that I remember reading recently, a financial guy, I forget the name, but the gist of the article is this guy, he was going woke, and it was supposed to help his business and this, that, and the other thing. And the reality was, he said, and I quote, you go woke, you go broke. Right. Because the community in which he was in wasn't a woke community, but he was trying to push it. He was trying to push that agenda. He was trying to push that mentality, and the community ended up turning on him and shutting his business down. Yeah. But hey, I got to pause real quick. Let's do this. Happy Mother's Day to anybody out there that's watching who is a mom, and grandmom and aunts filling in as moms. Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you. I put out there on the Romans Warrior Foundation page, less than 1% of the nation's population raised their right hand to serve our country. What that means to me is less than 1% of moms raise badass kids to be able to serve our great nation. So here's to you, less than 1% of you badass moms out there. Thanks for doing what you were doing.
Awesome stuff. Very, very good point to reiterate. And what'd you guys do? Did you do anything special for your mom today here? You guys get dinner, get something squared away?
Nah, bro, I got her card.
Nice. I did
Nah,
flowers.
I could have done better. I mean, I made Shannon, let Mama Bear whatever she wanted to do today, so she got a relaxing day. Made her dinner, got her some cards and stuff. Nothing too crazy because it's like this, man. We're adults. Anything Mama wants, she gets. It doesn't have to be a special day. Every day is Mom's Day.
Right, right. I feel that. Yeah, we actually had we had 8 of us go to my new restaurant that my wife had discovered with her friends that she really is an Indian restaurant. And I got to tell you, man, amazing food. I am still stuffed from noon today. I still don't want supper, dude. I am so freaking full. Amazing service, authentic Indian food. The people there were unbelievably friendly, super cool stuff. Yeah, it was. We had all 3 of our kids and their significant others. So there was 8 of us that got a chance to go out for Mother's Day lunch today. So that was pretty cool.
Well, on that note, one of the top 5 headlines in America today is wellness companies are eager to avoid Weight Watchers.
Dude, I gotta say, before I get to this, because my brain is like a squirrel, right? I mean, I'm squirrel gone. I gotta say this. I'm not a worldly traveled dude, all right? I'm not. But I have been to a couple places in recent years over in Europe, okay, in the UK and now in Europe.
Yeah.
I will tell you from my visual of what I see, we are fat. Dude, our culture here, there are more chunky butts here. Mm-hmm. As I'm looking at the people I can tell, and it doesn't seem to matter financial status over there, at least not in Spain it didn't. Whether you were, not so well off in the peso department or the euro department. Pesos, that's Mexico. Jesus, racist Campbell.
Hey, I was letting you run with it.
Right? From the euros, in that department, whether you were weak there or you had, a pile of them, the majority of the folks over there they're not as thick as we are over here in the U.S., dude. When you go out and just put eyes on people, it was an eye opener. As a former thickie who's now coming down. By the way, 219 has stuck for the past week. That makes 37 pounds, bro. Urgh.
Good job, man. Congrats.
Just by Maha, baby. Maha.
That's staying away from yellow
healthy.
number 5 and red dye number 4.
It truly is, brother.
Kennedy's onto something with all that.
He has been, yeah. And yeah, he'll be a topic coming up here down the line here. Let's pay the bills here. As we said at the top of the show, Romans Warrior Foundation, that is the #1 sponsor for the Double S podcast. Check them out at Romans Warrior Foundation. The guy here happens to know a little bit about them. # helping is healing. Dude, folks, if you're looking for healing in non-traditional methods, if you're looking for real connection, real bond, real people, if you're looking for that tribal connection here, get a hold of Romans Warrior Foundation. Find out where we're going to be. We're across the entire United States of America, and all kinds of different divisions that are designed to connect with you on some level, fashion, or form. Bro, without you and the Romans Warrior Foundation, none of this becomes a reality. You changed my life. I mean, flat out. The epiphany, right?
Is that a compliment or an insult? I mean,
it is an absolute compliment, homie. Absolute. It was. I knew where I wanted to be. I just didn't know what it looked like until I met you at the wall, and we started talking. And within 10 minutes, I felt like I had known you my entire life. You and your wife there, and seeing the crew, Shannon and I don't think your kids were with you on that trip.
No,
maybe they were.
Well,
no.
yeah, they were. They were. Yeah.
Because that first one is where you got COVID, didn't you?
Yeah, they were with me because remember Flea parked the RV and fed them.
That's true. Yep, met Flea that day. I mean, it was, and now to this day, you guys, I call you my brothers, man. I mean, I would do anything for you guys. This is, you put the boots in the ground, you put the rubber to the pavement, and showed the possibilities of what we could do with this thing, and then of course, my beloved wife saying, "Yep, I got your back. Go for it. Let's see what we can do with this." as recent as about 3 months ago, man, I'm sitting here always, like, geez, honey, do you really need another kid, a 52-year-old neckbeard in your house, not pulling down that income type thing? And her response to me was, you're doing exactly what you were meant to do. And bro, I can't tell you how much that hit me right in the head. And I'm like, okay, she is one of the smartest humans I know, and she knows me better than anybody on this planet. So if she's telling me that, I guess I better, suck it up and get to work, keep moving. So yeah, dude, but it all started with the Romans Warrior Foundation.
So, and Gene, I'm going to pick on you for a minute, right? So that's exactly, your story is one of several that you and I know, but your story right there, bringing back the sense of purpose, empowering individuals, coming together as a team, locking shields, and within that, and for everybody that doesn't know the history with Gene and I, we had 2 15-minute conversations the first time I met him. I mean, it was really surreal. We were over in Wellington, we were over in Johnstown, and literally 2 15-minute conversations. And we were hooked with each other. Not in that way, everybody get your minds out of the gutter, but we were hooked together. And
he's not Navy. God.
Not the way. Shots fired. But but we were hooked. And allowing someone an opportunity to have trust across the board without even knowing Gene, and giving him the empowerment and giving him for lack of a better word, it took us a little while. We were able to provide some different resources so Gene could do exactly what he's doing and allow that empowerment to go and pass on to other people. That's what the Romans Warrior Foundation is. When so many of us hang up the uniform of whatever kind of uniform that is, the one thing we're always searching for, it's synonymous across the board. It's that sense of purpose. What kind of purpose can I have today? Because I used to do this, and this is all I know. I don't know how to do something new. Well, you do. You just need that kick in the ass to be able to push you in the right direction. And Gene, I'm so glad that we were able to link up and have that, because with you, as much as you give me credit, and Jules probably wants to shoot me for the financial part of it, but as much as all that takes place, believe it or not, you feed my motivation as much as I feed yours. So being able to bounce that off each other and fuel that fire, it speaks volumes of the passion that you have. And I'm so glad to be able to have you in my life and be able to call you a brother. Now we're done with the emotional shit. We got to get on to some serious funny crap.
That's right. Let's get back on the other.
Yeah, let's do it.
Check out Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance at GWAT You want to be a part of this. Trust me, you want to see this. You want it in your neck of the woods. If you got like a 4th of July thing going on, you got a big parade going on, a town celebration. Obviously, the harder days to get us into town, because those end up getting booked right out the gates, would be like the 9/11 celebration, Memorial Days, Veterans Day. Those are tough. But if you've got a big celebration going on there, get a hold of us. We can book you for next year. And get this going with this, because there's one way to take your event to the next level, man, and that is to bring the GWAT wall into your town and let the healing powers of this thing. It is a living entity. Let that thing get to work. I love it. Oh, look at that. Look at that, dude. That's your laser engraving you've been working, yes?
Yep.
Good
That's
stuff.
a special project, and that's going out to a very special person, because this is his month, or his son's month, and there's more that's going in that package to him. We figured out.
Is that Mr. Payne?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, we figured out how to take some of those pictures we were working on a couple years ago and take it to the next level. So he's going to be getting one sent straight to him. He's got the first cut ever in that fashion, and those will be offered this year out there on the wall tour as well.
Outstanding. Of course, none of this without our fearless leader at the network station here. This is one of the best moves that I've ever made, was moving our show over here and then putting together this, and that is Mr. Adam Bird of the Heroes Media Group. Folks, go check out all the podcasts here. We are going to be going through our brother and sister podcast hosts and trying to get them on the show here. Each week, that you come and see us here. It won't just be these two ugly mugs sitting here talking. We're going to have guest interviews. Okay, that's kind of the goal for it, like a 30-minute interview of some kind. And then we're going to invite our guests to stick around the show with us, hang out for a while, and go through the news topics with us. Could be sports, could be health-related, could be politics, could be national security, could be world events, weather, who knows? Cooking? Hell yeah, we could get into that. I do like me some food. The funny thing is I eat more now than I ever have, I think, but yet I'm still cutting pounds because I'm not eating garbage anymore. I got that poisonous crap for the most part out of my system. So yeah, you never know what we're going to get into. And with the health side, we're going to share some stuff. I want to say this first and foremost. Any of these topics that I throw an opinion out on, I do not believe that because it worked for me, it will work for you. Okay? I never want you to ever think that about anything that I ever say. I will give you my experience for you to pick it apart and use it how you see fit. I'll tell you what worked for me. It may work for you. It may not. Everybody's maybe a little different. Some things, are lineal, right? Some things are facts. But at the end of the day, I learned that a long time ago. And anytime I see those self-help things running around out there, like, oh, this is how you get rid of stress, dog. This is, I did this, and because of my experience, I'm telling you that, bro, that already tells me they're not that far advanced in the big scheme of things. Because just because it worked for one person or you doesn't necessarily automatically give you the golden ticket that it's going to work across. Gather info, right? Isn't that the deal? Gather info. Grab information where you can.
What Gene is saying very politely is he is not a paid or endorsed spokesman for anything that he's going to talk about. It's just shit in his mouth.
Total garbage most of the time. Well, good stuff, man. So yeah, that's how we're gonna fly this thing down. I mean, we're pretty tame through this first one here, just because it's our first show. We wanted to get this thing off the ground, test a couple things. Looks like your connection is solid, so that's going to be a good deal. Topics
Sweet.
that we're going to go after, like I said, will be topics that matter. So, having said that, going forward, anybody's watching, reading this, listening to the podcast, watching this on YouTube or Facebook, you can follow our show directly on YouTube at Double S Podcast. All right, that's where we're at. Now, in the beginning stages, we're going to be broadcasting this across the TPO channels, across the Romans Warrior Foundation channels. We'll have this podcast broadcasting across the Heroes Media Group networks like we are tonight. We'll have a ton of stuff, going through there. But if you want to, just go out to the Double S Podcast at YouTube there, smash that subscribe button. Huge. We're trying to build this literally from the ground. We have under 10 subscribers right now at the start of this show. So we're going to see a year from now, next year, we'll check back in and see how everything's doing here. What do we got? Slack lines, yeah. So Bricklin here, who's tight, when you said tight lines, so Bricklin is an old school Arkansas boy, and he does something we call slacklining. Slacklining, right? Now, it's not probably what you think it means. Slacklining means most people, when they feel a fish bite on a hook, right, they reel down the slack, and then they set the hook because they're trying to get the line tight, and then they, bang, set the hook. But there's an old school mentality that if you think about it, go way back to the days of the cane poles and such. There was no reeling down the line. So there are some guys out there that are slackliners, and Bricklin is the definition of a slackliner. He gets a little nibble. He's got all this line sitting out there. He pulls this thing from like here to Oregon back and just whack, and you hear that line go whipping through the air. It's an undeniable sound. And sometimes that jig will come back firing at you at about, Mach 3. Other times, because if you miss, that thing's coming like a missile, dog. But yeah, he is definitely a slackliner through and through. Last but not least, right? Exactly. Yeah, don't be behind him when he's setting the hook. Last but not least, on the banners we're going to throw up here, we got, of course, go out and get you some merch. That cool hat that Mr. Romans is wearing right there. You can buy a version of that. Ba-bam. We got the hats out there. We got T-shirts out there. All proceeds go to our programs to help keep us on the road and keep rolling down the line. For those of you who are unaware of what it is that the Romans Warrior Foundation True Patriot Outfitters does together, we do outdoor excursions, outdoor events. We focus on camaraderie. We focus on bonding and obviously healing, creating improved quality of life, and creating a pathway to healing for our brothers and sisters out there using the outdoor power, man. It's real. It's got science behind it. We know it works, and we use it to create some very cool trips to the field ops teams that we have out there. So that's that. All right, now let's do a little quick. I've got this list of these different things of what we could fire up, what we could do. You mentioned something about indoctrination, so let's get real quick here. And what?
Well, while you're pulling that up, let me pull your brain. What do you think about Trump maybe accepting a gift of a 737 or something, 747? What do you think about that?
I don't know. For what? Accepting a gift from another nation or something?
Yeah. One of the princes, I guess, over there is talking about giving Trump a plane, and he's talking about accepting it so they can turn it into an Air Force One.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think the fact that it's so transparent and out in the open, that I think shoots a lot of, if there was, I never trust anything anymore. People have such a hatred for this guy. That it's absurd where things go. I'll openly tell you, I didn't vote for him the first time. I absolutely did not. The second time, you damn right I did. Just because I said to myself, I don't have to like him to think that he has to be probably the best option. But I'll tell you what, I've actually grown to like him now because there's been enough real information come out about him that tells me something completely different, which on a different show we'll get into. So him accepting I don't think any politician, I don't like the idea. It's dirty to me. It sounds scrubby for a politician to accept a gift from somebody. But
it's so dirty.
Right? But I guess I'd have to know more on the detail. I'm not going to take snippet value.
Qatar's talking about giving him a plane. 747 is what it is.
I'd put some dogs on it.
Let's see. Exclusive use as a presidential plane. Yeah, it's coming from Qatar.
Yeah.
Qatar's got all the money.
So let's
Qatar, Dubai. What you got, man?
We're gonna give folks an example of one of our sections, one of our news segments here. Now, hopefully you folks like this one here, because we're going to talk about this topic about the indoctrination thing real quick from what you were talking about with the schools, something that you saw with that. I want to dig into that just a little bit. So let's go ahead and fire up this intro here real fast. All right, shots fired, because we're gonna go ahead and say some shit about this on the whole school system. First and foremost, I want to just fire out the gates with Department of Education should be scuttled and burnt to the ground. Yes, 100%. And for those of you idiots that are trying to now fight to keep this thing alive of some kind, show me one area, one statistic that shows that it did any good for this nation. You can't, okay? It's a rhetorical question. You can't. It has not produced what it was supposed to produce. And I'll go even further. This isn't a left-right thing. What George Bush Jr. did with it was the worst possible thing we could have ever done with this No Child Left Behind. I worked for a school district for 10 years. I can tell you I've seen it in action of the garbage that it puts on the states for the sole purpose, all of a sudden, now of getting funding. No longer was their priority teach kids topics. No, their priority was make the school look good so it gets more funding from the state, because the state gets more funding, the better the schools do from the federal government. No. And there absolutely is an indoctrination that takes place at the high school level all the way into college. I've seen it firsthand, unequivocally, no question about it. There's just no possible way around it. Now, does it suck that people are going to lose their jobs? Yes. Not a cool thing. But in the same breath, let's go to Spock, dude. Here, I'm going to nerd out for you. Star Trek. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Okay? I'm sorry, but it's a failed deal. If there's a better idea than letting the states control their own thing, I'd like to hear it. Don't just get pissed that you want to keep what's there that has failed and not working, and then go protest and burn Teslas or whatever in the hell it is that your agenda is these days, which is the irony there. They're eating themselves. It's like a snake eating its own tail. It's almost, I mean, it's comical, but it's scary, and it's funny as hell, but it's scary.
I'm just going to go lick 9-volt batteries.
Right. What have we got here? Our brother Jason out of Missouri tuning in. Hey, what's up? What's up, brother Jason? Appreciate you tuning in, man. Our real live outdoorsman.
So January 29th, 2025, the White House put out a policy ending radical indoctrination in K-12 schooling. And it tells and it goes in detail about, what's been going on, why it's been going on, and how we're going to go back and correct it. I mean, the bottom line is, when did we stop teaching American history? When did we stop teaching about the founding fathers? When did we stop actually letting teachers actually teach instead of, hey, here's a Chromebook, let's all log in? Why in the hell am I sending my kid to school if they're just going to sit on a Chromebook all day? You're not learning nothing. You're not teaching anything. That's my biggest problem with everything that's been going on. COVID, sorry, my little rant. COVID has done so much with the United States of America. It's made, and I guess you could say probably the world too, it's made people lazy, and it's made keyboard warriors think that they can get up and do whatever the hell they want to do without having repercussions. No one in the world is entitled. No one's going to give you anything. And the fact that you learned that sitting in a classroom that was getting federal and state funding, it's sickening. Because at no point in time should you ever been taught that. You know what you should have been taught? You should have been taught home economics. You should have been taught how to balance a damn checkbook, how to change a tire on a car, how to fry a damn egg, how to do your own damn laundry instead of expecting mommy and daddy to do it for you. Those are the things that your indoctrination crap took out of the schools. Common sense approach to everything, right? That's how Gene and I were raised. Not today.
Talk shit, get hit. Right?
Amen.
Consequences. You got consequences. Think what you want. No one can tell you what to think, but you should probably think twice before you open your mouth. Right?
I struggle with that every day.
Right? To go back to what you were talking to, we were fed this line along the way. We ate it up. We believed it, that it was a financial situation. We lost wood shop. We lost shop, metal works. We lost, and the only time that both sides agreed is when it started coming after the humanities courses, where it was starting to attack the arts now. These things started getting attacked, and then all of a sudden, now the other side's upset. They weren't upset when we got rid of, shop classes because those are just too expensive. Shut up, too expensive. No, you couldn't control the narrative of what was being said in there, and they were actually teaching them skills that would resonate.
Yeah.
No, I believe wholeheartedly this was a machine that was put into action, and that they had no idea of its potential until after the fact, and then it started driving. And I'm sorry if you are still of the frame of mind that you think federal government should be running more shit. Again, we're going to have a hard time conversing, because the federal government is not there to run our daily lives. That is not what we want. So the fact that we can start to trim that back and get rid of that, dude, presidents have been saying they were going to do that from both sides of the aisle for the last 40 years, and this is the first guy that's freaking actually done something. Now we just got to get legislation, right? Now it's got to get legislation to go through to finalize these executive orders, because I just don't trust that the morons won't wipe out all his hard work that he's trying to put through.
Hey, look, man, I was a kid. I was a kid when Reagan was in office. But one of the key things, he said a lot of great quotes, but one of the key things he said, you should always fear if you have somebody from the government that shows up and says, I'm from the government, I'm here to help.
Reagan.
And
Yep.
the biggest thing that you should always run from, because it's 100% right. The federal government shouldn't have their hands on what the state's doing on the educational level. And here's a perfect example of what you're preaching, brother. Tell me, in the past 10 years, what's the percentage of students? And we'll probably be able to look it up with AI or something. But I'm interested to know what's the percentage of students in the past 10 years who've actually gone from high school into college and utilized their degree.
Yeah.
Actually utilize their degree to actually get a job. Because exactly. I mean, here, I'm going to preach it to the choir. I have a degree in fire science and emergency management. Do I have a job in that field? No, not a paying job. I'm a volunteer firefighter, but I don't have a paying job in that field. You know, my wife's got a degree in criminal. She's going to throw something at me here in a minute. It's criminal something. She doesn't have a job in that field because no one's hiring for that field. And if they are hiring, they want to do an entry-level salary. Well, what the hell did I go for 4 years of college for if I'm getting an entry-level salary? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when I'm not working at McDonald's with a criminal science degree, I mean, that's just dumb. So there, I mean, that's my thing with indoctrination. You got all these people. Oh, you have to go. Yeah, criminal justice. Thank you, David. You have to go to college for what? So I can sit there and be in debt for the rest of my life? Is that the American dream?
I'll tell you.
Go be a linesman. Go make yourself freaking 6 figures 2 years after you graduate high school, because that's what they're doing.
And more importantly, in my opinion, when you become a linesman, you become a tradesman, you are now contributing to the community that you live in. Without your work, these communities don't work, right? People sit there. There's a couple songs running out there that have some great lines in here that, you know, we talk about the environment, we talk about it, but no one talks about the guys that were down in the coal mine. And that's right, I said guys, because I would venture to say 99.9% of them are men that are in those coal mines, that are mining, that have lost their lives. And the whole reason they were in that coal mine was to perform a job to make sure that we could stay at home and plug in all our newfangled bullshit that we have here and keep the houses lit. You know, so no, you know, people forget about that kind of thing there. Can we do better? I think we can, but it doesn't come at the, expense of. We got David Wills Jr. Chiming in here with us. Appreciate you, brother. He has a criminal justice degree. Says he's 47 and still. Yeah, I'm with you, dog. I'm 52 and I've got a debt that I'm embarrassed to even say how much college I have, debt that I have. Three degrees and more debt than like 12 people, I think is what it feels like. But no, there's an argument to be made for these things. Not to say that all college degrees are bad, but I will say this: I don't trust any major universities anymore after what I've seen firsthand. You said something about going off there. I'm gonna paraphrase him, but Vodi Bachman once said this. He is a preacher, but he once made this statement here: don't send your kids off to Caesar and then be surprised when they come home Romans. Right? You got to figure what they're getting bombarded with out there, what they're seeing every day, and what's being pushed on these narratives that are from the professors to the groups to the peer pressure that takes place. It is 100% shaping and turning these kids into these. I'm not going to quote the study right now, but they've flat out shown that depression rates higher than they have been. These kids are thinking that the whole world is, crumbling down around them, and that I watched a very bright young lady who knew the world was hers to go get really narrow her focus down into, a different human being. And I see those kind of things like that, and I think to myself, why now do you pay 6 figures to send off to this stuff and then get these poor kids, completely jacked around here? So yeah, it's you have to pay attention to this, and you have to have your kids armed, man. Just looking at your kids is not enough. You got to spend hours and talk with them, and there's got to be those around the dinner conversations anymore. I don't think that's an old school view. Again, this isn't an old boomer type deal. This is called being awake. Y'all can be woke all you want. We know woke is jacked up and breaking, but people are getting awake now and they're seeing things for what they really are. And so I hope more and more that goes through. So
hey guys, I'm sorry. Gene's doing a lot of the talking because I'm new to this and I'm still trying to figure out my fit. I'll interrupt him every now and then like I just did to be able to break some topics, but I'm just still trying to figure it out, get my feet out from under me.
When you're doing research at the same time, dog, that's huge. And you're talking in the comments here to the folks that are listening. That's awesome, man. It's called teamwork.
I'm trying to multitask, boss.
So yeah, at the end of the day, the shots fired thing here, yes, the Department of Education should be scuttled. It should be completely wiped out. If there is anything that needs to come back after it, maybe. I don't know. There'd have to be a damn good reason why. And I know there's a couple states that there's a claim that there's like 4, 5, 6 states that don't have enough funding from their tax base. But why should somebody in, Wyoming be in charge of kids in Mississippi?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sorry, that's not how we're built. This is not, don't even get me started on this socialist bullshit, that I see people trying to punch and push down the line. Well, firefighters and police officers are an example of socialism. No, they're not, you moron. The government does not control it. They manage it. We, the people, control them. If not, you idiots couldn't have figured out defund the police, could you? You jackwagons. It's like, shut up.
Oh, man. That's such a topic right now. There's something. Oh, man, I want to segue. Can I segue?
You can segue. We got more shots fired. Go for it.
Oh man, yes. Here's a big shots fired. So check this out. All right. So you just hit the nail on the head with first responders and public service entities, right? So there is a county that I used to reside in.
I saw this
with fire departments that I used to work with, that are literally forcing the volunteer fire departments out. So here's the deal. It's no stranger. 10 years ago, 14 years ago, they had the same conversation, but they didn't have the funding to be able to back it. For a government agency or government entity to be able to buy out the volunteer fire service for an entire county would be astronomical. It'd be in millions, if not the low billions, because you have to buy equipment. You have to buy the stations. But this government seems to think that they can go in there and just take it and seize these assets. That's not how the nonprofit world works, people. This government is about to push something that they don't know, in my opinion, the full extent of what they're getting themselves into. And I'm so proud of the fire chiefs in this county for standing up and pushing back against this government agency, this government entity, for saying, hey, we're going to come and take your shit. No, the hell you're not. You don't have any rights to it because the taxpayers in my fire district paid for us to have that. They donated their money for that. They didn't pay you to pay me, Now I'll give you some of these government agencies, like these volunteer fire departments, rather, they do get a county stipend for services rendered. It's a contract for emergency services, because without that contract, again, you'd be in the high millions of dollars to pay someone to be able to do that job.
Yep. This
same county tried rolling this program out years ago, back when I was a fire chief out there. And we accepted a part-time paid responder. And I had a spidey sense back then that they were going to try to come in and take over more fire departments. Our fire department was a great example. Come to find out, there were some other issues once I had left and turned it over to a certain individual, that, to my knowledge, that individual didn't want the pressure and stress. So he had a meeting with the county. The county came in and we made it simple. We only had one bill we were paying out a month. So they came and took over our fire department. They're trying to do the same thing now with all these other fire departments. And it's you hit the nail on the head, man. I mean, it's not socialism. You got these men and women that are working full-time damn jobs, and they're getting their time, taking time away from their families, pushing back against the dinner tables to go and respond to these emergency calls of service to be able to help them neighbors out. And you got people that are wanting to crush them, stab them, run them over, take funding out from them. And a lot of us are just trying to pay out of our own pockets to keep the thing running so we can go and help our neighbor calls, and Paid police officers and EMTs, they're the same thing. They get paid pennies on the damn dollar. You can make more money working at a fast food restaurant today, thanks to damn COVID, than you can going out there and working a shift as a police officer in some of these towns, running an ambulance in some of these towns. It's sickening.
Dude,
Sorry.
I was at no. That's the real talk, that people are afraid to talk, and say these things out there. I just this year, I was looking at doing a seasonal job as a park ranger. I thought, you know what, that'd be a good little side income. As you and I both are in the same world. We own nonprofit organizations. We do not take salaries from these, and that can put a strain on the family, financially. So I thought I could probably, if they're willing to work with my schedule for events, I could probably go, do something there. Bro, you absolutely make less as a seasonal ranger. A seasonal ranger in the state of Colorado, you make less than what you would if you went over to Panda Express and started whooping up some fake food. Starting pay there was higher. Starting pay was higher there than it was at for that there. And I started thinking, good Lord, man. Where are we at with this? No, the departments that we have out there, these are thankless jobs, man. When I was with Dive Rescue in Larimer County up in Fort Collins, I worked at the USDA in tech support, 23 years in the tech industry. Every time my pager, if it would go off during the day, my boss was decent enough to allow me to leave on a 911 page from the sheriff's department that we had to go, but it cost me my FTO. I had to burn my own FTO to go on these calls. So basically I was cutting out vacation, cutting out sick time, basically in order for me to respond. And I gladly accepted that, because that was part of what I had agreed to join on that dive rescue team, was to serve my community in that capacity. Thankfully, where I worked and how I had, a decent amount of FTO coming in, but it absolutely took away from vacation time. It took away from, kids' time. There were times I'd wake up in the middle of the night to a page and I'm gone, at 2:00 in the morning. My whole household gets upended because they hear my pager go off and hear me scrambling through the house to get to the car at 2 a.m. So yeah, it was something that your family, everybody, contributes into that. So that thankless maneuver when politicians or bureaucrats start stepping in, this is not yours to deal with, when it comes to that. It should be there. You hope that the voices together, I saw that letter of yours, those fire chiefs together, man, they have power if they stay together. They can have influence, and they should take this to shows, man. You should reach out to them. If they want to get on the double S, let's get them on here and let's talk about it. Air it out. We have no worries here. So if they want to throw some people under the bus, I'll drive the damn thing. Let's let's put them under the tire.
We don't believe in safe spaces.
I'm still looking for that doll. I'm going to come up with one. We're going to get one here. What do we got from Jason? Everyone is worried to death about liability, how it hinders people even if they can do their jobs. Yeah, for sure. 100%. The liability aspect, kicks in because the litigious nature of what we have out there. So that's shots fired.
Jason, to your exact word right there, the liability. We actually had an event that was supposed to be this year for the Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance to go set up at a damn college. Oh. The law department, now this is a veterans association that wanted us down there. There's a student veterans association, 2 student veterans associations wanted us down there. The legal department sent us a letter telling us that we needed to provide X, Y, and Z to come to their event. So we shot back a letter. Hey, bro, this is your event. We are an accessory to your event. We're not hosting the event. You're hosting the event. The way I interpret your letter is you really don't want to have anything to do with the great patriots of this country, or you want to show your homage and respect to the veterans that gave their lives for what you're able to do. The exact response from that legal department, yes, you're 100% correct. Have a great day.
Yep.
They didn't want to accept the liability.
Yeah, they were going to offer no coverage or liability or protection for us while we were on scene at this university. The university wanted nothing to do with it. They stepped completely away from that and expected us to try to provide, horrendously expensive if we could have found anybody that would have underwritten that, which I don't even think we would have. But yeah, it's what a shit show that was.
Shots fired. I love it.
Yeah. So that's shots fired, folks. We're gonna come out the gates on this stuff. If we love the comments coming through, so definitely keep that going. And I want to encourage, if you've got an opposing view, this isn't a safe space, but absolutely fire it, because we're not going to, sit there and be jerks with you. We may have, I try not to throw an opinion out that's dead set without having facts around. There's an old saying there that, and I'll look this philosopher up, is that every man is granted a right to his own opinion. I'm paraphrasing this. I'm hard chopping it up. But no man is afforded the right to be wrong in his facts. And facts are not feelings. Holy shit. Facts are based on objective truth. Plain and simple. That's just that. There's no way around that. You don't have to flower it up. It's real or it's not real, regardless of what you think about it, type thing. Eek. All right, man. Well, that's our full hour here. It goes by quick when you get chopping things up there. Did we cover everything you wanted to cover on the first show here to set the stage for the folks coming down the pipe?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I totally chopped the introduction you gave to me, because I don't really like talking about myself or what we do. So, but outside of that, yeah, I think we're rocking and rolling. Big thing is, so we know we got to do it from this point. I can't do it from the back of the house. We've got good sound quality. We've got people coming in and commenting. I've got to figure out how to manage that a little bit better from the different social pages. Yeah, man, I think we're good. I think we're rocking. Shots fired is, I like that.
That'll be fun. Yeah, that'll be a fun one. We got a few more there. We got we'll get into some sports one of these times here. I spent 20 plus years as a coach of football, hockey, and track. Been around athletes. Actually studied a little bit further and deeper into the psychology of athletics and athletes themselves. So I tend to sometimes come up with some different things that not your casual fan doesn't think of. That goes a little bit further as to explanation of certain things, and so I always like to ask those questions like, I wonder how this is going to affect this type thing. Yeah. So, and I'm going to openly admit, dude, soccer, whatever. I'm not going to cover it. Okay, I'm not going to talk about it. Soccer was the punchline that I used in football. Okay, it's like if this is too tough, the soccer field's right over there. Head on over. Football.
Are you talking about the real soccer, or are you talking about the soccer that's now poured itself onto the basketball courts that you see people like LeBron fall down and, oh my God, I got to get carried off. You want to get carried off? Go tote a freaking M4 in combat with 70 pounds of gear on your back. Then get carried off of something.
Exactly. You'll notice the sports that I partook in: football, hockey. These are things. I was a throws coach because I needed something to do in the spring when we couldn't talk to the athletes outside of football. So I had to be I could talk with them during throws. So that's why I coached track, and I boxed as a kid. So yeah, I do enjoy that side of the sports side. So those are the things I have opinions deeply on. But baseball, basketball, it's like watching old people porn. Sure, it's a sport, but yeah. I can't get into it, dog.
Well, thank God for small things.
Right.
So Jason threw out there, started in fire as first responders as a teenager in volunteer capacity in the city government. It was cover your ass, don't hurt our funding issues. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You got to be prim and proper. Well, we don't do that in the fire department I'm in. We care about the community and we care about the people we respond to. If anybody has issues with that, they're more welcome to come down and voice those issues, because we might not agree, but we'll agree to have a conversation.
Hell yeah. I mean, in our training with dive rescue, there was a lot of CYA, of course, but it was more done in the
dive rescue.
Yeah. Yeah. It was more done. It was more done in the form of training, We
Yeah.
train to a standard. We make sure that we follow these procedures when we get on scene to make sure that if something tragic happens, after the fact, that it was unavoidable, right? I mean, that was the
Right.
CYA we practiced. But yeah, you got a job to do, man. Community's counting on you. Awesome stuff. Folks, make sure to get over to YouTube there. Give us a subscribe. We could really use that help. Tell your brothers and your sisters and your aunts and your uncles and your cousins and your friends at work about the Double S podcast. Some of these episodes you're going to notice, because our schedule is crazy during the summertime, so some of these are going to be recorded. Okay, most of them will be live, but I think it might end up being even like a 50-50 where we're going to have some recorded episodes here. The topics that we cover, we're going to try to make sure that they're still relevant. Like if we're covering news stuff that's going on, or sports stuff, or topics like that are current events, we'll try to make sure that it's within, like, say, about a 2-week time frame, right? So we'll try to, that any of these so the recording won't be like a recording that was done in January is being played in July. That won't be the case. We'll record it when we have the better opportunity so that it can air on Sunday nights. But we will be here on the Heroes Media Group Sunday nights, 9 Eastern, like clockwork. We'll at least go an hour, sometimes hour and a half, man. You never know. If we got a good interview going, who knows? Brian talks
Man, when
a lot,
Gene and I
too,
get to talk, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Gene talks a lot. That's crazy. No, hey, first and foremost, again, happy Mother's Day to any mothers out there that may see this podcast. Thank you with Adam Bird with Heroes Media Group for bringing us over. Gene with True Patriot Outfitters for having us. The Romans Warrior Foundation for being a prime sponsor. And, Sal Gonzalez signing with Label 22, which is one of the very few veteran first responder music labels that are out there. That's a nonprofit running out of Nashville, RCA Studios. He's about to jump on the Grand Ole Opry again here this month. So y'all make sure to stay tuned. We'll throw some blurbs out there for him and what the Label 22 folks have going on. You got the Romans Warrior Foundation, the Global War on Terror, Wall and Remembrance, True Patriot Outfitters, Hoosiers with Hearts Disaster Relief, Stop 22 Tour, Label 22, a couple other sponsors out there that we'll get into later on. Folks, we got a lot of stuff going on, and Gene keeps it nailed down, putting butts in yaks on the water across the United States, especially out there in the Midwest.
We got a cool one we're trying to put together for coming up here in October. We've got one that we were already starting to plan on. We got Stanley Lake. We're hitting that. Our work with Heroes on the Water, that stuff continues right now. We collab with them and do a lot of work with those guys. And Heroes on the Water, fantastic organization. Hopefully one of these days I'll get one of those guys on here to jump on and talk with us about that great nonprofit around the country and the therapeutic work they're doing with the VAs, which we've not been cut, surprisingly enough. Despite what you read, the recreational therapy department is still operational. Imagine
There you
that.
go.
Imagine that.
Heard it here first. Look at that.
Awesome stuff. All right, folks, make sure, like I said, likes, follows, subscribes, hit that stuff there for sure. We appreciate it. We love you guys. I don't have a snappy, outro saying yet. We need to come up with a saying here.
All right, I got you covered. Hey, all right, folks. You got it real here. It's the real news, not the fake news. Heroes Media Group, the Double S. Welcome to the shit show. So we're going to say it right here, right now. Love, peace, and hair grease. We're out.